So I'm going to create a story on this beach. I've got my other two dogs here. I'm not going to put the figure in this one, but often I see dogs on the beach and they're just lovely to watch running around. So we're going to create this little story, and I'm going to show you how I put two dogs like this, one behind the other. I'm going to put, it's the same dog colour, the same colours that we use for this, which is going to be the autumn gold and ultramarine. So this is lovely orange and the blue, same colours that we used in the background. So pretty much in keeping. Only this next dog is behind. The one in front is going to be probably a black lab. It's a very dark dog. But I'm going to do the one in the background first. And I'm just going to start with its ear. Another little ear here. Link the two together. That ear will all but disappear. But if I just leave a little gap, you'll kind of make it out. It doesn't have to be completely accurate. Go. So I can just kind of make out here that dog has its jaw open. So back to here, and this is the back of it here. It's going to be behind this other dog, so I don't have to. I can just leave a line here. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to paint the two together. It's not going to merge. I'm just going to leave a tiny gap. Now, I love this little tail. It is quite a sort of a dynamic little tail up in the air. It's an excited little dog. Lovely. So then we've got, this is the front leg. Now I'm deliberately going to just take my time here. So that's the elbow actually, this part, the elbow of the dog. I know, who knew they had elbows? And this one, I can't quite make out what's happening here, but I think this is going to come to here. And then we've got the back leg. Going to be here. I'll leave a tiny little mere suggestion there. Doesn't matter if the two link up. This leg is going to come kind of here, like that. So that's the front leg and that's the back leg. That's all we need to suggest it. Look, that's one happy dog on a beach. Right, then we're going to start on the dog in the front. Now, I'm keeping the same colours, but I want more blue this time because this dog is a much darker dog. So we start with the blue and we introduce a little bit of the autumn gold, and that will make it a much darker colour, like this. Lovely and dark. Now, if I think it's a bit grey, I'm just going to add a little bit of the autumn gold, and that will just warm it up a little bit. Okay, now, this one, gosh, it's a funny shape, isn't it? So we've got, it's going to be its ear, I think, and its mouth, lower jaw. I'm not going to, I kind of want to put another ear in, but no, I'm not. I'm just going to follow my sketch. Now, I'm going to leave the tiny little gap, but I'm also going to allow it to just touch in places because I do want the dogs to link up. I don't want them to look like separate things, separate shapes with a gap in between. So I quite like to invite that colour to move. Now we've got, this is the front leg. It's going to come here. And this is quite interesting because it's a kind of a real running pose. Sometimes they're quite unusual, the shapes, and they almost don't look right. So this is the other leg. That's just the body. Now, I feel like I need to vary this now. I kind of feel, I'm going to put some blue in it. And you may ask why. Because I feel like it, really. I think it will look rather nice. That'll separate the two dogs quite nicely. So this is the back leg. And as this dog runs, the front leg goes and it behind the back leg. The back leg kind of moves in front. So when you watch dogs running on beaches, they really are quite beautiful and they're lovely to watch. Okay, so that's the back. Now there's a tail there somewhere. I've kind of implied a tail, but that's going to be quite complicated. So I'm just going to keep this really, really simple. So that's the back leg there. And you know, we will make this out. It will look like two dogs. It will just look like, well, it does. It's like a little hodgepodge of legs. Right, so we're now going to put the little, the shine. This is damp sand. So looking at it, I can see there's a gap here because that paw is off the ground. Here we go. A little bit more water in this. I don't want this to look, I kind of want it to look like a reflection and not part of the dog. So we're going to have, let's have a look, put some horizontal lines here and a touch of the autumn gold in here for this dog. Now this little paw is on the sand, the other one isn't. Now is this up? Yeah, they are. Look, there's nothing there. The reflection then sort of comes down here. All the legs are in the air. There's only a couple on the sand. Look, fabulous. And then we're just going to do a little hint of some reflections here, because as the sand dries, what you find is you get dry patches, so you'll get like a hit and miss. So if I look at my picture, I've kind of got little long bits here, as if there's kind of dry patches and then wet patches. It comes all the way down to here. That's what I've drawn, so that's what it's going to go on. Now, when I look at that now, kind of the final thing I feel I need to anchor everything is I kind of feel I need to have a line going behind here. So somewhere, just be careful where I put this, but I think sort of here, not too sort of obvious, but just sort of there. It's just the edge of the water. That's anchored them. And then I think, actually, I do think we ought to have a ball. We could have this a little bit of. They are after something. There isn't a ball on my picture, but I'm going to have them chasing a ball. They're all going for this ball that's on the wet sand. I'm just going to put it here. Just a little blue ball. It's just going to sit there. Now, because it's in the background, I don't want to make too much of it. So let's just, yeah. And I think that's a bit blue, so I'm just going to darken it. I just don't want it to leap out too much, but I do want it. And look, it's on the wet sand, so we do have to have a little bit of a reflection. Okay, now we've got a story happening. So here we are. We've got our dogs on the beach. It's a Norfolk beach and a March day, so I have to say it was very overcast, but you know, the light was lovely, and I think I've still got that in my sketch. I think that's portrayed quite nicely. So, dogs on a beach. I only used two colours. Yes, I did. I only used the two colours to do the dogs, and those were two of the colours from the background. So, for my colour swatch, I used autumn gold and ultramarine. That's for the dogs. And the background, I also had a little bit of turquoise, and this has given it this slight glow. And the brushes I used, my pointer and a stippling brush, because I did a little bit of stippling in the background. Oh, and my number 10 for these big areas. I tend to use those three brushes quite a lot. So dogs on a beach, not as difficult as you would think. Have a go.